That was the first thing they heard. We are currently live on our YouTube page.
Whoa, we're fancy.
So we have to actually watch our words then. We can't edit it out then, right?
Well, and I was going to say, there's probably nobody on there yet, so I'll say this. It is going to be, I'll do the edits and everything and go replace the live stream that's on our account. So the live comes down after like 24 hours or whatever, and it goes up to the real video.
All right, yeah. I can see we're live on right now. Awesome. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
Don't forget, Crab, we're live. Just don't forget that at any point.
Dusty's going to get a ticket for driving and potting.
We're good.
Oh.
It would be funny to put him on. Officer.
Officer, who you got tonight?
Yeah, you got sir.
Just give some takes real quick.
Send Wade to go pull him over.
And then you'd be like, sir, is that a picture of bourbon that you just sent in your phone, actually?
No. All right, ready to rock?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Fist pounds around. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello, friends. Welcome back in. It's another episode of D1 of the D1 and Done Pod, presented by the official Mountain West and SEC correspondent, the benefactors of the pod, the Hagen Hall Boys. Give us a follow on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also see that we're making waves on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube with our shorts videos, courtesy of our good pal, Jake Mills. And yes, you are hearing the voice of the man who guaranteed a Final Four and a national championship for Purdue next year. Welcome aboard. We're so glad to have you on board the bandwagon. I am Robbie Donahoe. With me, as always, Nick Mills, Dusty Mills, producer Jake. This is our second year of doing the D1 and Done pod. And for the second consecutive year, we have one of our favorite teams in the national championship game. So congratulations up front to Jake. Woo! Little testy there towards the end, but they got it done in true chaotic fashion, but was good to see. So I guess before we even jump into any of the games, Jake, how are we feeling tonight?
I feel incredible. It is a dream come true. It's been 11 years since I've enjoyed a Final Four with the Gators in it, and I was more nervous going into the Auburn game than I have been since. So from halftime to now, I feel great. We're playing with house money, and if you know, I know we play Houston tonight. If I had to pick any other team, if Florida would have not made the tournament or get knocked out, if I was going for anyone else, it would have been Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars. So just a dream matchup, and whatever happens tonight is going to happen.
It should be a fun one. Again, I don't know why the NCAA in their infinite wisdom want to play these games so late at night, but
it's an early tip-off tonight.
Compared to recent years, yes. 8:50 p.m. tip-off time. I don't know why we have to cater our viewership to the West Coast because they never have any teams in the tournament at this point. So, whatever. But stay up late past 11 p.m. See if we can.
Non-West correspondent.
Right, yeah. But let's go. We will start with talking about the games on Saturday, and then we will preview tonight's games and what we are thinking. And I will be fully transparent. I thought Auburn would win, and I thought Duke would win. And that's kind of been the story of how I've been picking my bracket and my games this year. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And all of us who think that we're experts, we're not actually experts. So, Nick, I'll begin with you. Auburn, Florida, that one went, I think, kind of according to plan to start. And then it was that second half surge by the Gators that was pretty impressive and pretty surprising.
Yeah, first of all, just for everyone out there, we all watched this game together. So it was great to cheer on Jake. He was very, calm the whole game. So I was very proud of him.
Completely calm.
Completely calm the whole time. And shout out to me and Crab. Again, we root for the winningest college basketball program. We're the only ones with a championship appearance on the show. So shout out to us. But back to the game, Florida-Auburn. Yes, Robbie, the collapse, they're not collapse, but the Florida better second half. And that's kind of in the script of Florida, right? Jake, we told they've not played their A game from start to finish, so I did the research like a good old boy. So, Florida against UConn, down 6 with 16 to play, outscored them by 8 the rest of the game. Maryland, up to a halftime, outscored by 14 the second half. Texas Tech, as we talked about last time, they're down 9 with 3 to go. And then in this game, down 8 at halftime, and went outscored by 14 the second half. So this has just been a script. They kind of just, play with their food the first 20, 25 minutes, and then they just turn it on. And, and just hit the Walter Clayton button. He was so good again. 34 points, if I write it down. 34 points. And again, Elijah Martin, my guy, was great again. Who toot? Tommy Howell keeps playing great, Jake. And the thing about this,
What
Florida
fuck
won
boy.
this basketball game. Auburn was the number 1 team all year. Florida won this game with Will Richard, Alex Condon, Denzel Aberdeen were 2 of 15 from the field combined and 0 of 6 from 3, and they won the basketball game. So, again, it's just follow the script. Florida just, like I mentioned earlier, plays its food. Walter Clayton or Elijah Martin just dunks on someone, and Gators win. Rinse and repeat.
Dusty, how impressed were you with that Florida win? Because it was trending towards an Auburn victory, and just that second half, the Gators just turned it up, and it was they left the Tigers in the dust.
That was one of those games where, first off, Walter Clayton, my gosh, the monster he's become. I saw that he's the first player in the last, I think it's 40 years.
Since Larry.
In the Elite Eight and the Final Four since Carmelo. They're the only two that have done it in the last 4 years, so impressive. Obviously, Carmelo went on winning the national title as a freshman. And congrats, more than many
Larry Bird
over the weekend. Chance Billy Donovan, or not Chance, also Billy Donovan. That was one of those games where you thought Auburn, as an experienced team, would go in the locker room up 8, was it?
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36-38.
You would think just put the pedal on, and I felt like it was going to be a game where they tiered it between 10 and 15 for the whole second half. But Walter Clayton, he comes in that second half, and he just said, no, this is my game. And to come on that stage, I heard someone this week compare it to kind of the Steph Curry thing, where you have a huge Elite Eight game, you have a week to get all the hype, all the excitement, blah, blah. Are you going to have a fall off? Well, Curry didn't against Wisconsin, as we know, and really didn't against Kansas, even though they lost that Elite Eight game.
Right.
And then King comes out, and he hits that three in the corner was absurd. The fadeaway three. He had those drives with the up and under finishes that he was having. 2 of them he got fouled on, but it wasn't called. What a game. And that was just a hell of a performance by Florida. Great run by Auburn. I would say my team of the decade cake is gone. Maybe for a 20th of the decade we'll go with, so 10%. They were a very good team for about 3.5 months, and then just 5 and 4 down the stretch fell apart. Congrats. I'll move on. Florida, congrats. What a freaking amazing win. I'm so excited for tonight.
And I'm glad you bring up Steph Curry, because thinking back at previous Final Fours, I'm not sure we've ever seen a single game performance quite like what Walter Clayton put on in that Final Four game. Can any of you think of anything off the top of your head of being like, yeah, that guy went for, even Zach Edey had a relatively okay game against NC State, but it wasn't like he blew the roof off like he did against Tennessee. I can't think of anything off the top of my head from a single game performance that we have seen quite like what Walter Clayton did in that Auburn game on Saturday.
The only one I can think of,
I cannot.
The only one I can think of, but they blew him out, so it didn't matter. But DiVincenzo and Natty, he scored like 35, I think. Yeah, but again, they blew him out, so it really wasn't.
Final Four history in the
right. Yeah, he just went on. Yeah, DiVincenzo just went on that stretch where he just could not miss in that game.
And honestly, Kaminsky against Kentucky in 15 kind of put the team on.
I thought about that too,
but we'll cut that part. We don't even bring that up.
All good points, but yeah, I just that second half, the defense in the second half, that was extraordinary.
So I don't know if you guys got to listen to.
I want you to touch on this because Jake told us at halftime, because Janai Broome was cooking. They could not guard him. He looked like cream inside. And Jake said the under 16 timeout, they were going to make an adjustment. And I think he only made one more shot after that.
Yeah, he had one field goal since the 16-20 mark.
Did not make one in the last 15 minutes of the game. Did not make a field goal.
Okay, so what did, I guess I didn't even notice this. What did Florida do differently to combat that? Or did Auburn just go away completely from Broome inside of the post?
Well, Florida flipped who they had on them. They were throwing, and instead of just having one guy that, whoever was in the game was guarding them, every possession or every few possessions, go back and watch it, they're throwing, it was Tommy one possession, then it was Condon, then it was Chinulu, then it was back to Tommy. So they kept throwing different people at him. Okay. And then what Florida decided to do was to leave everyone but Miles Kelly in the rotation to fake a help. So they faked help to the middle and Broome every time, like it was coming for a double, because I thought they were going to double team. But they faked the double, And then they let everyone else kind of like almost like zone rotate where you're kind of playing an island, except for Miles Kelly was the only one that they said we're not leaving. And Clayton stayed on Kelly on most of those. But here's some I have not seen on Twitter, have not seen anywhere else. And I saw Titus talk about it last night. Titus had said when you left his seat at halftime to go down to the media lounge to get some beverages or whatever, that ironically he walked by the Florida locker room. And he wasn't like even trying to listen or whatever. And he said, I heard a side of Todd Golden rip the hell out of that team and screams and roars in their ass is more than he ever even. He said it truly caught him off guard. And for a guy that I've seen all year who's gone through his own ups and downs in the media from the start of the season to now, for all you've seen is this locker room and these players will do anything for him and love playing for him. And I also love to know that he went in there and just said, this is unacceptable and it's time to go. And just absolutely put them in their place. And they started the second half on 11-0 run to tie the game. Or 11-3 run technically to tie the game. But they defensively, they flipped a switch. And, yeah, like you said, Nick, Denzel Aberdeen not doing much. Will Richard not doing much offensively. Condon might come back now. He went from mid to late, people were talking about him sneaking the lottery draft to ankle injury, and I think he had 1 point in the game on Saturday, and Tommy Howell's kind of stepped up in those places. But defensively, these guys all just said we're going to go ahead and do it, and they went and rebounded. I think Auburn got so many second chance points, not even second chance points, but looks in the first half, and they just said, you know what, we're just going to go grab every board we can and just continue to contest. I mean, Chad Baker-Mazara won't shoot that way the rest of his playing career as well. I mean, there were shots that he was hitting. I was just like, holy moly. But Florida didn't, don't get discouraged is what they did not do. And they just kept, having a hand up, having this team go. And then, Elijah Martin and Elijah Martin and Walt Clayton, I think is their first and only game this year that we've only had two guys in double figure scoring. I will confirm that, but I believe that's what I saw earlier. And then
Tommy had 12, so that was
okay. So Tommy did end with 12. Okay, so he did, but it was 17 from Elijah and 34 from Walt. And I know Dusty has had some technical difficulties popped off, but to correct his kind of stat earlier, Clayton's the first since Larry Bird in '79, to have back-to-back 30-point wins in the Elite Eight and Final Four for his team.
Dusty, I think you're muted.
Do you know what the Carmelo stat was, then? Because there's you're right. It was Bird that had 30 and 30.
There's something with Melo. I just looked at him, and Melo had 20 in the Elite Eight, 33 in the Final Four and 20 in the championship.
I apologize, viewers. It definitely was Bird was the other 30-30 guy. Him and Melo also did something. I can't remember what it was, then. I apologize.
I'm glad that you bring up Carmelo Anthony because that kind of rang an alarm bell for me. The other time that a guy went off from three-point range was that Jerry McNamara in that national title game against Kansas. He could not miss in that first half. I think he made his first 5 threes, if I'm not mistaken. So there's your other one.
We were talking about someone else going off on threes in honor of Jake Skaters tonight. Was the George Mason Florida game in '06, Lee Humphrey. I think he hit 5 or 6 for the game, but George Mason could not stop it, man. He literally would not walk inside the three-point line.
Just fouled him every time.
Yeah. They should have. Why didn't you? It would have been better. You would have made 2 or 3 instead of make 3 from three-point range. Which, again, how does Lee Humphrey not be a good free throw shooter, but he's a great three-point shooter? Beside the point. But holding Auburn to 9 offensive rebounds, that was big for Florida. They really they battled with them on almost every board. There was something in that second half watching Auburn. It was almost as if they just ran out of gas, it looked like. And I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it was just – Johni Broome looked like that his arm was going to fall off by the end of the game. Chad Baker-Mazara is complaining about what other injury he has. It seemed as if this team just ran out of steam at the end, which doesn't make sense to me.
Well, what helps with all that is, so you mentioned Chad Baker-Mazara was shooting it well, but the trio of Pettiford, Jones, and Kelly were 3 of 16 from 3 and 7-25 overall. So they
Kelly hit back-to-back at one point.
I think you're right.
So outside of 2 possessions, they were 1 of whatever.
You're right. 2 of the 3 threes they hit came in like a 60-second span. So the rest of the game, they basically hit 1 3. So, and then, like you said, Robbie, like Broom was clearly that second half. His arm was, I think, really affecting him. He couldn't do much at all.
Yeah.
And by the way, we've not said it yet. Shout out Elijah Martin had the dunk of the tournament.
Oh my gosh.
Both.
That was
2
insane.
of them. He had the dunk on both of them, and then he had the "I believe I can fly" dunk where he was alone. where again, but you're talking about being gassed. Broom looked like Broom should have got to that ball before Martin on that steal.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a step ahead, and Martin just goes out of a can and takes it, and he couldn't catch him after that. And I thought he was going to do the like he did in the UConn game where he jumps too soon.
Yeah.
And misses the dunk, but decided to throw it down. And that was the dunk on Mazzaro and the other guy. Was it Pettiford and Mazzaro maybe? That dunk in transition that came with 8 minutes left.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like at that moment the momentum just completely flipped.
All the credit in the world will go to Walter Clayton, but I mean Elijah Martin, he was massive on the defensive end, and I know his 17 points were big, but I mean, it's funny. Like everything that I basically said on our Friday preview pod was Florida can't mess around with Auburn. If they're trailing going to the second half, it's going to come back to bite them. Duke is like UConn. They make you feel like they're going to suck the life out of you and you feel helpless. Like literally, if you bet against everything that I said, you would be a rich person right now. And it's hilarious how that all kind of transpired. But all of the credit in the world goes to Florida. That was a phenomenal second half performance. But let's switch gears.
Well, can I just say one more thing for Auburn?
Sure, go for it. Yeah.
Another tough loss for Pearl and Auburn now, because I mean all this story about Sampson trying to get his first.
Sure.
I mean, now with Pearl, you're up 8 at halftime, probably the best team you might ever have. Broom might be the best player you ever have, and I'm not gonna say it's a complete missed opportunity because again you lost to a 1 seed, but still that's got to really hurt for Pearl. Especially they've had some other tournament blunders like losing to Yale last year and Miami a second round a couple years ago. So I don't know, maybe Pearl just never will get one then.
Well, and poor Pearl. One of my best friends who will be listening to this today on his adventures back to Charlottesville. But Kyle Guy and myself have now knocked Auburn out of the Final Four.
Well, if yourself, Kyle.
Kyle Guy also knocked out my Purdue Boilermakers, so we don't want to talk about that either. Speaking of just utter collapses, what in the actual hell happened to Duke? I don't Duke was in control that entire game. It was as if once I left the Mills house, it was like the switch flipped and here comes Houston. I've never seen in such a big environment, a big spot, a team look like they're in control, no issues, completely lose the game at the end.
And they haven't done it once. They haven't done it once this year either.
At the 8:17 mark, when Duke went up 59-45, I said, "This is over. Houston is this is not going to happen." And it was at that point something happened where Houston just said, "We're not something." I don't know what it was, but I don't understand why Duke let LJ Cryer go off. That's the one guy that you cannot let get good looks, and they let him get free a couple times, and he started getting going. Then you had Houston really start to take advantage of the offensive glass, and it kept snowballing, and it was at last Duke had their freshman moment, and I truly did not think we were going to see that from this team this year. So, Dusty, I'll begin with you, our resident Houston Astro. What did you think of that comeback from the Cougars?
First of all, Jake, this is not resonating my rooting interest tonight. This is celebrating the Astros comeback win yesterday. I do have a different shirt I'm wearing tonight. I have a few thoughts on this game. One, it was electric watching that game. It was after Robbie left the Mills household. It was standing room only for the people there. Besides my wife, who's laying on the couch, but she was wearing a Go Cougs pen from the 2021 Final Four. So just an electric environment. I felt like that game was just the whole idea of you're just chipping away at something the entire time. And you didn't think it would, but finally just broke with 10 minutes left. And even then, even when Flag hit that three of two or 3 minutes left in the corner.
2:30 or something like that.
It was 3-something.
It was 3-something.
Nick and I saying to each other in the basement, we kept yelling, just one run. And they finally went on a 10-0 run. And I think Flag actually hit the 3 after that. but they just kept chipping away. I mean, the fact that Duke could not inbound the ball, which this will be a topic for another conversation. A topic for another conversation is why no one screens to get open anymore. I don't understand on inbound passes.
Anyway,
I don't understand it.
No, so you can't get the ball in. They're panicking. You have who is it? Proctor don't shoot the free throws when he's shooting 50% of the tournament. You have Flag just seemed out of sorts once it got down to that time. And that's not a knock on him. He's best player in the country by far. He's an NBA player. But everyone, they just seem so rattled. I mean, even Shire, who looks always so poised and just, hey guys, I got this. We're getting this done. I think it just hit them so hard that they were just almost in shock. And
yeah.
Which who was it for Houston who had the
Sharp.
stones to take that ball out to 3-point line like he was Walter three.
Nick, who dribbled it out?
Oh,
And-
Michael Wilson, my
Michael
dude.
Wilson.
He's
But
he's
then we can
the
dive
best guy I've
into
ever met or ever seen.
first of all, amazing for Houston. Two, BS that Hakeem Olajuwon, the security stopped him from getting on
Yeah.
the court.
Yeah, what the heck?
Get that man out of here. Get him out of here now. Out of here, out of my life. Get him out of San Antonio. Send him to the Alamo and fight if you want to stay here. You, sir, are gone. I want to say a couple things, and then we'll keep going. One, everyone get over the back call. Get over it. If I see one more tweet that changed the outcome of the game, get that. You have not played basketball once in your life. It was a weak call. We all know that. Guess what still happened after that? First of all, you had a veteran guard miss the front end of 1-on-1. That's
Yep.
one. Two, freaking Jawan had to go down and hit free throws with absolute stones.
And he's not a good free throw shooter. Yes.
Did you see, I mean, he was telling the team, like, calm down, I got this. Nails both of them. So those people, calm down about that. Now you have, Cooper Flag, capture the flag. I kept hearing all Saturday night from our other
Got a
people.
great look. Got a great look at the I don't know, like
I set
yeah.
up. Yeah. Yells Kobe as he's shooting it front and get out here, Flag. Good luck in the draft. You're going to be amazing next year. But my point to that, though, is don't get over this over-the-back thing. That did not decide the game. But just, this is a comeback that this is not recency bias. This is going to be one of the craziest things that we talk about 50 years from now. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Well, and it's a testament too. One thing I haven't heard anybody mention. What have we talked about from Houston from hell? We'll go back to 2020 to now. They are going to be in you defensively the entire game, nonstop. They signed up for 40, and that's all they did down the stretch.
They do not die.
They don't stop, and that was it. And even still, they get a technical foul on touching the inbounder.
I wanted to.
oh my gosh, Tugler, dude.
At that point, the air came out of the balloon. It felt like it was. It's over. And still, you had it. But one fun fact for you guys: outside of the ACC, well, their one loss to Clemson. Duke lost 3 other games this year. All of them came down to Flag with the ball in his hands, and he never put it in the goal.
Clemson too. He slipped.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They missed fouled and free throws, so that's why it was a 6-point game. But all 4 of their games, they have the ball with under 30 seconds to take the lead to win. Potentially to win, and Flag had it all 3 times, or all 4 times, and he came up short.
No, Kentucky and Kansas, right?
Kentucky, Kansas.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
So that, I want to be clear. He's the kid should be a senior in high school. What he's doing is remarkable. He could put the 4 of us in a blender, but that is kind of. I saw someone on Twitter or X sadly put Cooper Flag's clutch moments this year, and it was the ending game of those games. And the kid's amazing. Good for him. It's a heartbreaker for them. But sorry, I'll shut up now.
Well, it's okay. So it begs the question, and I had someone ask me this. I think, Cooper deserved to take the last shot, but also your best shooter on the floor is Con Knipple. If you can't get a good look out of it, why not do you find a way to get him on some sort of a back screen or something? Like, I thought in the moment I understood why Cooper took the last shot, but if you want the best shooter on the floor to take your last shot, it's Con Knipple.
Okay, I won't shut up. I got one more thing. What I thought they were going to do, because they've been doing this all game, Duke kept getting those off-ball, not really backdoor cuts, but help side for Houston was bad all night. And they kept giving Cooper the ball on the wing, and he would keep driving baseline, coming back to middle, drive baseline until the double team came, and then someone would cut middle. So, yeah, you would do that, have someone cut middle, and like you just said, have a backseat for Con on the other side. There are better options than just, hey, go have your Jordan Game 6 moment, which, didn't work out. But I was surprised at that. It should have gone to Cooper Flag. I was surprised that was the play call.
And that's kind of what Purdue was able to do to Houston was they knew how Houston defended ball screens. You basically stretch out the hedge guy, and your pace at that point, you're playing 4-on-3 in a sense, and someone's going to get an open look, or you get Houston in rotation where you can find a better look. So I guess in that moment, a better play could have been drawn up, but I agree with you, Dusty. It was Duke, for once, looked like they were sped up. They looked like they weren't poised in the moment. And that was the first time this year that I've seen them kind of have a deer in the headlights moment of, we're in trouble. And they didn't have an answer for it. So, Nick, I'll go to you since we haven't had a chance to talk to you. What did you think of the end of that game?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. I'm glad you just kind of gave an alley-oop on that. I don't think we're emphasizing enough how big of a collapse this was. Okay, so you mentioned, Robbie, it was a 14-point game with, would you say
8:41 to go, which is that, I think that's the largest Final Four comeback in history, correct?
I believe I saw that.
Something like that.
Okay,
so yeah, you have that. And then you're up 6 with the basketball with 1 minute to play. You have the basketball up 6 with a minute to play. Jake already mentioned the technical foul, which, Robbie, the Indiana Pacers are so mad they've not thought of that yet. As a team who loves having stupid things in the games, I can't believe Miles Turner's not tried that move yet.
That's going to be on our bingo card by the end of the playoffs. So, yep, it's going to happen.
I can't wait. But yeah, Duke collapsed. Again, you're up 6 with the ball, meant to play, and Duke control the whole game. And Robbie, you said they had their freshman moment. Also, too, like, their non-freshman kind froze. Proctor was awful all game, 0-4 from 3. Crab mentioned he bricked the free throws. Sion James could not get the ball in on inbounds. He looked like he did not look confident at all. So it was just a collective effort. And Crab, I'm glad you brought up the over the back. Yeah, it was a weak call, but like you said, the reason they lost is they hit one shot the last 10.5 minutes. One made field goal the last 30 of the basketball game. It was the Cooper Flag 3. So it was just a utter collapse. Again, credit Houston. They do not die. We talk about when it happened, that Kansas comeback they had. What was it, Jake? They're down 6 with 8 seconds to play in Alabama.
That was crazy too. Yeah.
Down 8 shooting free throws with 8 seconds, and Kansas is shooting free throws with 8 seconds left, and next thing you go to overtime. Double overtime.
They're unkillable. It's insane. I thought Sampson outcoached Shire at the end. Ballsy move from Sampson to not foul down 6. I think a lot of coaches would in that situation.
Robbie, you weren't here for it either.
No, I was there for that.
Oh well, it happened again at the end.
But Sampson's down 6 in a situation, so this is like the opposite of what Jake and I were
talking. Okay. Yeah.
Sampson's not fouled when he's down 6. Trying to get the ball back, but
he let them run the clock as much as they wanted.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Which I agreed with that decision because, if you're shooting free throws, find a way to get it into your best free throw shooter's hands. Why are they trying to pass? Why is Duke trying to pass the ball to Tyrese Proctor? I know he's your best guard, but find a way to get the ball to your best free throw shooter. It was just a multitude of errors from Duke at the end that was just shocking. But the other part of the frame is Houston 10 for 22 from 3. Again, this was a team that was not a good offensive team last year, and they added big offensive pieces in the offseason. Even when Milos Uzan did not have a great game on Saturday, Emmanuel Sharp hit some big shots. Obviously, LJ Cryer was huge, but this team is finding ways to get it done, which is why tonight's game is just so intriguing because it's Florida. They cannot find, Walter Clayton's going to find a way to win this game no matter what at the end, and Houston will not die. So it's hard to even decide what direction to go to. So I guess let's
one last tidbit for you when you talk about Houston's offense and scoring and inability to quit. It took them almost the 11-minute mark in the first half. So over 9 minutes into game time to start the game to score 11 points.
Yeah.
Took them 9 minutes, and then they scored 11 points in the final minute 30.
They scored 9 points in 30 seconds? What the heck that was?
Yeah, what I heard was 9 points in 8:30 and then 9 points last 33.
Yeah, that was it. Last 30.
Yeah. Cockroaches will not die.
They are incredible.
Real quick, Jake, will you please check the chat when you get a chance? For, sorry,
So-
people, this logistical issue. Check
And where'd your revenge for Jamal Shed last year, Houston? Jamal Shed revenge.
Yeah,
16.
Jamal Shed redemption, absolutely. So let's
He
look.
posted a video on Instagram Live watching the end of the game.
Let's go. Oh, that makes me so
That's
happy.
great.
Shout out
That's
Jamal.
awesome.
Come on, pod.
Let's turn our attention to tonight's game. I will just not even pick the game because I don't want to give anyone any betting advantage because
No,
But
you have to take Houston. You have to take Houston.
Sure, I'll take. But I'll be honest. I've been thinking about it all day. I have this is the one time I think throughout this entire tournament where I truly have no idea who's going to win, and I don't I can make an argument for both teams, and this feels like the biggest toss-up that we've ever seen in a national championship game.
Yeah, do you have a spread?
Unfortunately, I do have to run soon. Big other pod obligations to our fans. I've been going back and forth on this too. Again, I am wearing a Houston shirt, not for the Cougars. I don't know the last time I watched a national title where I truly would be happy if either team won.
Yeah.
I'm not a Houston Cougars fan, but I obviously follow Houston sports, so I always pull for them. Love the Dream. Wish he won a title there. Love Kelvin Sampson, as we've talked about. I will be cheering for Florida tonight for my brother and my ex-girlfriend from decades ago, the Gators. It'd be awesome if the SEC capitalized.
Wait. Hold on. Stop. You're cheering for your ex-girlfriend? Is that what I just heard you say?
It's supporting.
Oh, supporting your
don't
ex-girlfriend, right?
I have a better life than all of them, so I hope they're doing okay themselves. I don't want them to rot, right? So, root for the Gators tonight. I will have a Florida shirt on with Jake. But, because I've kind of a few texts of people asking me, who do you think is going to win? And I literally, like you, Robbie, I'm like, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. But if you're going to say you have to pick a team, I'm going to go with the cliche defense wins championships. So if I have to pick a team, I'm going to say Houston. But I will be pulling Chomp. Go Gators tonight, and I cannot just digest this entire season in a couple days. It's been unreal this year.
A great Final Four that's ended a pretty chaotic season, to say the least, for sure. So, yeah,
So
I guess.
So with that said, everyone, I have to hop off. I can't remember if it's Field of 68 that needs me or who, but I'm
You have to go meet with our new boosters.
I've been driving to San Antonio all day. Finally got here. The Alamo is across the street, so I'm gonna go do some searching and whatnot, some soul searching before the game. Go Gators, Cougars. That's my pick. Let everyone great season. Let's go enjoy the night for a celebration of college basketball.
Cheers. We'll see you later.
Perfectly said
Cheers.
by Dusty Mills. Cheers indeed. But by the way, Nick, I wanted to mention an ex-girlfriend is a girlfriend you previously had. I don't know if you knew, you caught that, but that's what that means. Okay.
I got my girl behind me. Okay.
Disney!
Yep, that's usually the reaction I get from my women.
Uh-huh.
That was good,
That's
Robbie.
usually
Okay,
the
I was not expecting that.
Thank you. I was going to pull that one out. So, okay, then Nick, I'll go to you. Who do you side with tonight? What way are you leaning?
So, two things on that. First of all, can I just emphasize that, like, I love this matchup. Dusty mentioned it, like, it truly is like the most like likable like matchup I can remember. Like, there's not like a Kansas Duke, like, there's not a blue blood. There's not like a hateable coat. Well, for maybe different reasons, but see, I'm just excited for this game for Jake, and these two teams are like pretty similar. You know, they both have a star guard in Clayton and Cryer. They also have other guards that can fill it up. They both can rebound like crazy. And they both coaches got in trouble using their cell phones in the past. So, lots of similarities between
Allegedly.
Allegedly, that's right.
Allegedly, but and the second thing I want to say, so I had Maryland upsetting Florida in my bracket, and then I would have picked Florida to beat Texas Tech, but that's a game they almost lost, and I picked Auburn to beat Florida. So, in honor of Jake, I think I got to pick Houston. For that reason, they were my pre-tournament natty pick. I'll stick with it, but just anything could happen. Houston by 70, Jake. There you go. There's the
There it
teams
is.
for you.
Well,
So-
I usually don't mind when a cougar takes me down, so it's not going to be.
All the Sixers say.
But if you would have asked me, I know you guys heard this, but for our listeners as well, I wanted to play Duke. I wanted and I wanted Duke bad. I wasn't rooting for Duke against Houston by any means. I definitely thought they would win, but I wanted to play Duke. But going in now, sitting here Monday afternoon, if it was playing Duke tonight, it would be truly a massive range of emotion. I'd be extremely excited. We take down the Dragon of Duke. and Shire and all this and Coop and all the rest of the guys, and then be very sad because you lose to Duke. But I'm at this moment now where I checked today. I didn't realize I only placed 2 futures in the college basketball this year. One was Houston, one was Florida. So if Florida was not in this moment, I would be cheering for Houston regardless because of Kelvin Sampson. It's someone I love. This Houston team's very likable. They don't, and too, 4 years ago, 3 years, 5, especially go back pre-COVID. What conference is this team in? AAC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is the team where they qualify based on their prestige and where they're as Cinderella not too long ago, and then they've gone to the Big 12. They've dominated. They've just climbed this ladder to a national powerhouse, especially for the 3rd largest city in the world to be the University of Houston, University of Houston. It is at Houston University. Which one is it?
I don't think it's the 3rd largest city in the world there, Jakey.
The 3rd largest city in the country. Sorry, my apologies. To build this basketball program up is kind of just something that's been awesome. And, he gets there because he gets in trouble in the past, for doing something that was not illegal days, hell, even months or years later. It's just something that this Houston team is awesome. And there is no other team I would rather potentially lose to. However, that being said, we've been cougar hunting all day and we're going to continue to do it. Is Walt, I have a question for you guys. Let's say he goes for 30 again tonight. Is he the most loved and praised Walt in the for the rest of time in the state of Florida?
Oh,
Is there?
Walt Disney.
I mean, there's that guy named Walt Disney.
What I'm saying,
it's himself.
But I also, hey, I'm all in. We'll start the GoFundMe. I want to put a statue next to him and next to Disney, and I want to put a Clayton statue next to Walt and Mickey Mouse when you walk into Magic Kingdom.
He's got to win tonight. If he wins tonight and scores 30, you can put the statue up next to him. Yes. So it's been, for as much as I've been trying to pinpoint the data and trends and things like that, we've gotten to this point where, yes, it's our first all 4 1-seed Final Four since 2008. But I remember saying it before we got the tournament started. The past 25 national champions have returned at least 1/3 of their scoring from the previous season. Duke is the only one from this Final Four that did not return at least 1/3 of their scoring. And sure enough, they aren't here. Remember, top 57 defensive efficiency, top 37 offensive efficiency. Both these teams hit that. Both teams were in the Week 6 AP poll. Everything went according to plan on that front. Now we get to the point where it's just, this is going to be a 1-possession game at the end. That's the only thing I feel in my bones, is it's going to be a 1-possession game under 2 minutes to go, and someone's going to have to make a big shot. And I trust, of anyone else that's going to be on the floor with 2 minutes to go, I trust Walter Clayton Jr. more than any other person that's going to be out there right now. So that's why I think Florida is going to find a way to win. I don't know how, but I picked them in my bracket of how horrible my bracket was. The only thing that I've gotten right is having Florida getting to this point and playing for the national championship. And hopefully I'm right with them winning it all, because that means Jake gets to celebrate a national title with his Florida Gators. So I think Florida's going to win. That's why I'll take the Gators. But I think it's going to be a national championship for the record books, one way or the other. It's going to be a great game. I was hoping we were going to have a better one last year with Purdue and UConn. It ended up being kind of a clunker in the second half, with UConn just stifling Purdue at the end. But this one, truly, I think it is unstoppable force meets a movable object, and we're going to have a great game tonight.
2 fun facts for you guys that we have ahead of tonight's game. One, it's the largest age difference in coaching matchup in national championship history, 30 years.
Ooh, wow.
69 and 39.
Nice.
And then that's one. And then secondly, we potentially could have history on our hands. For the first time in 26 years that a team west of the Mississippi River could win the national championship.
Which I'm glad you brought up location. So I assume Duke and Auburn brought the most fans to Final Four. What are we thinking the crowd situation? You think it's gonna be overwhelming Houston? That's 3 hours from San Antonio.
I think partially that, and I also think that there are a lot of people who have fallen in love with this Florida team. And if you're not a Houston Cougar fan, you're jumping on this Walter Clayton bandwagon. So I think that's going to at least push imagine the 4 of us in Indianapolis next year. We're going because we're local natives. and if none of our teams are there, then we're going to find a rooting interest somewhere. And I think that's going to help with some of the people there that maybe aren't Houston fans already.
Well, that's a good point. Like, I don't know if it carries over, but there's probably a lot of people in San Antonio who may not like Houston, like you're saying.
Exactly.
Jake. So there's casual, like, I'm sure Spurs-Rockets rivalries. I don't know if that carries over at all, but yeah, I didn't think about that aspect of it.
I'd say I think it's going to be either 65-35, 60-40 Houston.
I would say it doesn't go more than 60-40.
Yeah.
In favor of
I think that's
Houston.
What was it for Purdue UConn last year, do you think, Robbie?
Ooh,
'Cause
boy.
I've heard it was, like, overwhelmingly
Like
Purdue.
80-20, I think.
But
Everybody hated
75-25.
Hurley, too.
So what was funny was they started bussing in Arizona State students to be UConn students for their student section because they couldn't fill it with UConn students. Or they bussed in Grand Canyon students. I'm sorry. It was Grand Canyon students that came in to act as if they were UConn students because they couldn't fill the UConn student section. That's
Shut
what
up,
it was.
them just get a free ticket to the Final Four.
Hey,
Like,
that's
right?
right. That's the best student section in college basketball, Grand Canyon.
I know. So that's why it's
they're like, hell yeah.
I like this.
That's
You can rent a student section. This is we should start promoting this.
I mean, that would be in true Grand Canyon fashion, finding a way to one-up on a business opportunity when creating a school and putting it online and giving them a chance to buy their student section to come cheer for your team. That's Nick. You
Genius.
might have just thought of something there.
What's
You may
the
need to-
Scottsdale Stadium, University of...
You mean the University of Phoenix Stadium?
That's what I was thinking of. I think of them
Yeah.
being like, yeah, we're going to become just a traveling student section with our online students.
It's like a circus.
Yeah, that would
Down
be.
and down.
I actually kind of love that idea.
I
Yeah.
know.
That would be fun. So either way, it is going to be a fantastic game coming up tonight between the Cougars and the Gators. Once again, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight. Was it daylight saving? Daylight Eastern? It's Eastern time. 8:50 p.m. Eastern time tip-off. You can watch the game on CBS. Florida currently a 1.5-point favorite, but both teams are minus odds on the money line, which is fascinating. So it is a true toss-up. Total over/under 140.5.
Lowest
It
Florida
is-
team, and Florida's team total is at 71. It's the lowest total team total we've had since I believe this season actually.
Yeah.
If not, there may have been one game in December that we had a lower one, but this team who's averaging, just under 90 points since March 1st. I think we're gonna get a battle, and I'm excited. We're playing with house money here. We're in this moment, and if anything else, I got Todd Golden in year 3, who went through the biggest hurdle he's ever had to off the court, you would imagine, as a head coach at Florida. And whatever's in front of us, and the golden era is here.
Nick, you mentioned it last year. I think one of your favorite bets is the first half total under in a national championship game. So that would be one if you want to try to
believe. I think it's
66.
66.
That's kind of tasty, I got to admit.
So low.
It did. It's so low. Either way, once again, it's going to be a fantastic game
Yeah.
tonight.
And we needed fantastic. I mentioned this in the last pod. Like 4 of the
Yeah.
last 6 natties have been like double-digit games. We need a classic.
Hopefully we get one. The final 4 games were fantastic. Hopefully that leads to a great national championship game. Make sure you keep the pulse checker on.
Well, I'm going to start writing them down now because at some point it's going to get ridiculous.
Oh, we are looking forward to a great game. We hope you do as well. We will come back at some point and recap the entire season, national title, Final Four tournament, all that fun stuff at some point here on the D1 and Done pod. But we appreciate all of you for tuning in. For Nick Mills, Dusty Mills, producer Jake, I'm Robbie Donahoe. Nick, last thing.
I just want to give a shout out to Gino Oriema for winning his 12th
Yes.
national
Yeah.
championship yesterday. He,
Ashland Shade.
Ashton Shea, Noblesville product. He might be the greatest college coach ever. Maybe is it him?
Yes,
Oh,
he is
man,
the
he's
greatest.
insane.
That's crazy.
So I just want to shout him out before we go.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Paige Beckers is going to be a monster in the WNBA. Can't wait to watch her there. So it's going to be fun to keep an eye on her. So, all right, that'll do it for this episode of the D1 and Done pod. Enjoy the national title game tonight. Go Gators. For our good pal, producer Jake. And what is he about to do?
Oh,
What's he about to do?
Let's go!
All right, we'll see y'all next time on the D1 and Done pod.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Wonderful.
Great
Easy
pod.